So many people, I'm pretty sure you heard by now, they are talking about renaming and taking away the image of Aunt Jemima pancake syrup. Now, the brand is changing its name and logo after 131 years. It said due to the character's racist origins, according to the company. So it said Quaker Foods had announced a decision on Wednesday amid renewed criticism of the brand's racially insensitive packaging. It said we recognize Aunt Jemima's origins are based on a racial stereotype. And they say that as we work to make progress toward racial equality through several initiatives, so we also must take a hard look at our portfolio of brands to ensure they reflect our values and meet our consumer expectations. So I remember the old Aunt Jemima logo where she literally looked like a slave. I remember that. Then they had updated it, to the one that you see now today. But just to give you a background, they said the Aunt Jemima character definitely has racist origins and is based off a stereotype of the Mammy. They say of a black woman who worked for white families, took care of their children. So they say her name comes from an 1875 minstrel song, Old Aunt Jemima, referring to a Mammy archetype that was usually performed by a white man in blackface. Okay, so it said the term aunt and uncle in this context refers to how white Southerners addressed older black people or African American slaves. It said because they refused to give them courtesy titles as Miss or Mister. It said the Aunt Jemima image has evolved over the years to meet, societal acceptable standards of the times, but the brand cannot shake its history of racial stereotypes to slavery. So in 1989, Aunt Jemima, they lost some weight, abandoned her handkerchief, and looked more like a typical modern housewife. They say that many women have been tapped as Aunt Jemima over the years, with the first being Nancy Green in 1890, according to the Pancake's website. So they say Green was born a slave in Kentucky in the 1830s, but would become known for her cooking. They say Green's Aunt Jemima was so popular she even prompted the brand to change its name. I say so after Green, multiple women was credited of putting Aunt Jemima on the map across the country. Anna Robinson and Anna Short Harrington was just two of the women most known for taking on the iconic role. They said the Quaker Oats filed its first registration of Aunt Jemima trademark in 1937. So this is the thing. They also talked about Uncle Ben's rice as well. Talk about changing that. They also talking about changing the logo on the cream of wheat as well. If you look at, if you really think about it, we've been looking at these brands in the grocery stores for all this time, and all of this has been linked to slavery and literally put in everybody's face. You understand what I'm saying? That is white supremacy permeating even your food. You understand? White supremacy is so deep, guys. It is so deep and so sick. Every aspect of our lives, we're looking at our oppression, degradation, and disrespect. Every part of it. You have to be, you don't realize how sick and demented it is. Like no other group of people. Listen, other groups of people don't like us. I get it. I'm not saying all, but a lot of people in other groups don't like us. I get it. But they don't dedicate everything they do to try to put something out there about hating us. You understand what I'm saying? Or trying to show us in some sort of light. That's too much hard work and dedication. But I have a suggestion. Maybe you could change it from Aunt Jemima and just put Aunt Karen. How about that? I would support Aunt Karen. Karen could get put on there. Why not? We had Aunt Jemima all these years. You can put Uncle Brad. You can do that. You can put another Brad on the cream of wheat. I'm supportive of all of that. It doesn't hurt me none at all if you change those characters. Black people haven't been making no money off of it. None of these are black-owned companies. So it doesn't impress me for you to put a black face on there, and surely a black person in that kind of light. Because I remember before they changed their logo on Aunt Jemima, how it never sat well with me as a kid. I said, why she look like that? It just never sat well with me until like later down the line when I got more education into things that, yeah, that was basically from slavery, and which is horrible. But it took all of the protesting today for them to look at it and say, wait, maybe we should change this. But prior to that, nothing happened. This is why I tell you guys, did a politician get them to start thinking about this? No, politicians don't do crap. That's why I'm not all about, oh, we got to get out there and vote and wait till a particular day for something to happen for us. So we got to wait and deal with all kind of oppression and degradation until a certain politician just magically comes save us. No, you don't need politicians. You can make Fortune 500 companies move today. And you've done it time after time after time after time after time. A lot of these companies are starting to change their tune now. So don't say that if you get out there and take a stand and apply that pressure. I'm telling you, it's the pressure that's making them change. The pressure and the loss of money, because they fear that if we don't make these changes and we seeing where the country is starting to go, we going to get bankrupt, because they know black folks use Aunt Jemima. They know that. Now, what I would say is, instead of using Aunt Jemima, why don't you use the syrup by your brother and sister that's called Blanket? They make pancakes and they make syrup. You can buy that on WeBuyBlack.com. I mean, start supporting your brothers and sisters more with different things. I mean, we need to start looking to purchase the products that we use from our community. And if you can go to WeBuyBlack.com, you can find so many of those products. It's all right there for you. You can order it. I go order things from there. I mean, you can do that from toothpaste to laundry detergent to whatever you like. Go to WeBuyBlack.com. Try that out. Go order from your brothers and sisters. I mean, because it's great to be in the street, but if you're not having an economic movement with that too, to say I'm going to make sure everything that I have in my house that I'm going to buy from a black-owned business. I'm going to do that. And also with my banking, am I going to bank black? Either if you don't have a local black bank in your community or a local black credit union, you can go to One United Bank, oneunited.com. All of us can do that. I have a One United account as well. We need to make sure that out of all of this, everybody talking about, black and this and black lives and all of that. Well, black money matter too. Okay. And we need to circle our money within our community. And you don't need nobody's permission to do it. You don't have to explain no reasons why you're doing what you're doing with your money. Because before, when people were talking about banking black, I saw, the Mzungus coming in and trying to interject their opinions into what black people do with their money. Because they go on alert when you say, I'm going to take my money out of this Wells Fargo and go put this in One United Bank. See, they get on alert with that. They don't want you to pull your money from their banks because see, they on code. They may not benefit from a dime that goes into Wells Fargo, but they're on code enough to know that they don't want that to catch on, because if you start purposely saying, I'm going to support the black banks, I'm purposely going to buy products from the community, I'm going to purposely go to a restaurant in our community. Okay. That they understand with that, and you start circling your money within the black community, then that's true empowerment, and you build an economic base. But it takes active participation from black people. Okay. And nobody needs to hold you by the hand. Start doing research, because that's one thing that frustrates the hell out of me with a lot of us. I talk like this. Well, Phil, where's some black businesses at? Start researching. Because that frustrates me. That's why I'm talking like that. Start researching. We find everything else online. Y'all find all kinds of stories to send me. You find them stories all day long to tell me this going on, that going on, and I appreciate it. But start doing research. Find the restaurants in your community. Go if you can't find stuff. If you don't have a bank, a black bank, hey, you can have multiple banks if you want to. You got to have just one. Go to One United. It's very easy. Just start researching. No one can hold you by the hand for everything. See, that's another thing that happens in this system. They have broken you down so much that you can't think for yourself and research for yourself. Someone has to tell you every step of the way. And grown adults should not need no one to tell them every step of the way. They're supposed to give you the information, and then you go run with it and start looking for yourself. That's what I do. You give me information. I say, really, this going on? I go start researching for myself. That way I got to make an informed decision on what I'm getting into. Because instead of saying, okay, well, let's see what they're going to do with Aunt Jemima. No, go and support our brother and sister who is a couple together that's making a pancake syrup. That's the ones we need to support. Matter of fact, when I followed them on Instagram, but I ordered 3 bottles from them, and I ordered multiple things, pancake mix from them. Okay? Because I want to make sure that I want to circle my dollars. I mean, that's the only revolutionary thing that you can do. If you're not taking your dollars and putting it into your own community, you're doing nothing. How are you going to talk about all this Black Lives Matter and all of that, and then you running and putting all your money in everybody else's community, and these people kill you? We talking about the Mzungus, and when I say them, I'm talking about when they go out here, back the blue and all that stuff. They, you know, how they support, you know, the death squads killing black folks. Then you got the Chinese doing what they're doing, and all these other groups doing what they're doing to black folks. They have no respect for us, but then we go run and give all our money to them. That's why other people don't respect us like that. They don't respect us. Why would you respect a people you can abuse and they still give you their money? You know what I'm saying? No, we have to start that economic revolution too, not just out there in the street talking about the police. You're getting some headway, great, but now you got to turn that around and supporting. Even these companies are giving out grants and talking about supporting black-owned businesses. So if these white companies are talking about supporting black-owned businesses, you should be already doing it. That's all what I'm saying about this. Let this use this Aunt Jemima thing as a spark to say, hey, I'm going to make sure I go to sites like WeBuyBlack.com and go find all the black products I can order. I'm going to purposely make sure I go to restaurants. When I want to go to a restaurant, go to one in our community. You know, last week, I purposely drove, you know, because Houston's pretty big. I drove almost an hour to go to a black-owned restaurant that I saw that had great waffles. That's what they said. It was called Waffles and Creams off of Veterans Memorial. Okay. The best waffles I ever tasted in my life. Okay. You couldn't get me to go to somebody's Waffle House. Of course, I didn't go there no way. Best waffles. They do all kind of flavored waffles. I mean, the food was so good, guys. If you're here in Houston, patronize those brothers and sisters over there. It's easy to find. Just type in waffles and creams with a Z at the end. Just type it into Google if you live in Houston and go over there and eat with those brothers and sisters with your family. You understand? We got to do this. We got to support our own. We have to. Whether in our own means black Americans, that means our Caribbean brothers and sisters, that means our African brothers and sisters, just as long as we support the community, that's what we need to do. Because we have to have the economic revolution as well. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the situation. Like I said, with them changing the names, and we know it comes directly from slavery, and it's a slap in the face if you think about it. But instead of getting upset like we normally like to get, no, you don't get upset. You make moves by doing what we talked about in this video.